enjoy being a part of the rec and what we've got going on. I gave you each a thing on membership that I pulled the end of last week, and it's so this first page gives us a where we are currently with membership. And look on the back of that first page, total membership, we're at 1,328, and we sell a few each day, so I mean that number is actually a little bit higher.
New memberships?
Yes.
A day?
A day. We do at least one a day, and sometimes, now, those could be, as you look at the breakdown here, we just recently started with this Renew Active, which is kind of like a Silver Sneakers, it's just with a different insurance company. And so we're up to 7 members with them so far. Then this also includes 7 Waterworks passes that we've already sold. People are, now that the weather is starting to change, they start thinking about that and they want to grab that while they can. And we have 73 Silver Sneakers that we have. So we are now to a level, we don't have great communication, I should say, they don't have great communication. We reach out and reach out and reach out because we're at a level now that we could qualify to start doing classes that Silver Sneakers sponsors. And that's what we want to do is start, that's another way of bringing a little bit of revenue in, but also bringing people in to take the classes and maybe, you know, get a membership. So we're still, you know, constantly sending them emails, trying to get contact with somebody that we can kind of get that moving forward and be able to offer some classes for our seniors and adults alike. So that'll be good. The next page is just for the month of March. And well, not even the whole month. We just went through the 28th till like right at noon. And we have a total of 2,326 hits, visits, people coming in. So 2,045 of those in the month of March were actual members, and then 291 of those were just day passes. And we're doing a lot of day passes. We have currently, well, let me finish this part. And then the next page is, I just took it one level more to just a week. And because I was curious as to look at when might be busier times of the week, and it's, you know, the front of the week. So people hit the weekends hard, they come into the rec on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it starts declining.
No one's going
and
on
they
Friday.
hit the weekend hard, right? Friday,
Friday and
our lowest
Saturday, we
day.
got some other stuff.
But yeah, so that's just kind of a breakdown of what we have with the rec. I knew that our membership was up, but until I pulled numbers, I kind of wanted to wait till we got a whole year in and kind of a little bit past that. And so when I ran these numbers, I was very thrilled and very pleased with my team that we have over there and what we've accomplished so far with this. That's a huge number, you know, for us to have. And I'm very excited about that number, that we've got that many people coming through our doors. And we continue to have work done over there on different aspects of things. One of the things I was going to share is we have a group of, they're probably 20 to 25 year olds, guys that have been coming in 2-3 times a week, sometimes more. They come in about noon, and because they work like third shift, and so they get off, they kind of go home, kind of do their thing, they come and they just play basketball. And they've been playing at a Sportia, and a Sportia is like not going to be doing like day passes and such, and so they're not doing it because of safety reasons, they say, which I think is a little shady. But we welcome them in. They're very polite. They're very gracious. You know, they're always, hey, thanks, you know, and say hello and goodbye when they come. And a few of them are like, well, it's more advantageous for us to just buy a membership than to spend $5 every time.
Mm-hmm.
And so a few of them have already bought passes, and some of the other ones are like, yeah, I'll probably end up doing that too. So that's kind of cool that we can, you know, find groups like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many of them are even from Norwood,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, as long as we don't have trouble, we're open for anybody. And I don't care where they're from or anything like that. We welcome everybody. And so it's good to see that particular group there. As far as activities, we still have Jazzercise, which is huge. They have like 29 or 30 classes a week that they do. And a couple of those start at like 5:30 in the morning. And so we're not even open till 7, but we gave them a key. And so that what it does is unlocks, and they come in and they have one of their people stand at the door because the doors are still locked until we get there at like 6:30, 6:45. And so nobody else can still get in. And people just know that in general that we open at 7. And but they're killing it. You know, their membership is good as well. And we've got a great relationship with them. And hopefully we can keep them there. Then, you know, I think it's good for them. It fits their budget instead of having to go and get you know, brick and
Retail
mortar
space
kind
or
of
whatever,
place.
yeah.
So that's good. We have taekwondo going on. We have yoga going on. We had ballet, and unfortunately the instructor is having some health issues and had to stop. So hopefully maybe in the future we can get that back up. And that was for like littler kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was so cute too. I was looking forward to seeing some rehearsals or recitals, I guess you'd call them. So we have tomorrow night we finish our indoor cornhole league. First time we've ever done anything like that. I went to the 4 unions that we have. They each bought a set of boards. I put their logos on them, and then we bought a set as well with our logo on it. So we have 18 teams that play every Thursday night, and it's been a 9-week thing. And just like softball, which you know you guys were a part of, and kickball, cornhole became the same kind of thing. Whereas I'll be at home and I'm constantly pulling up the cameras just to kind of look through the building, see how busy it is, see what's going on, those kind of things. And cornhole, like softball and kickball, there's as many people come just to watch, hang out, and socialize.
Watch cornhole.
Oh yeah.
They just come and hang
They just
out.
come with their friends. Like they watch this at softball.
We got like 5 different boards. And so, you know, some of it is, you know, a spouse or something like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just other guys and girls that come and hang out and socialize and just have fun. That's what my goal was as a director of rec to bring, was that community. That's what, I mean, that excites me to see that many people show up that aren't even a part of the game. They're just there to have fun and enjoy everybody else. And that's what community is about. And so we're continuing to build that. We are this year going to be expanding softball and kind of having 2 seasons. So we'll have an earlier season and a later season. And then kickball as well. So we're adding the additional softball this year. We just finished the adult basketball league is on Sunday nights. And that's, I think, about midway through on that one. Our youth basketball league is, they just wrapped up a couple weeks ago and finished. And we had several Norwood teams that won championships. That was kind of cool. So Norwood is getting back on the map as far as recreation and what's going on. Let's see what else we got going on. We have our big Easter egg. It's not really a hunt, it's more of a gathering. We put all the eggs out on the field, and then we just, you know, line them up and they just go and gather. It's not like we really got a hunt. But that's Saturday. You start registering at 11:30 down at Waterworks. And so we're gonna do the littlest ones, like 2 and under, will be on the tennis courts, And then we'll have, the big, what softball field will be divided into two different groups, and then the far field will have, an additional group on it. We were able to do virtually everything. I think I bought like 4,000, eggs. But all the candy, all the prizes, I didn't know, I bought a few kind of like the little like dollar, less than dollar thing prizes. I bought a few of those. But most everything was through donations. People dropping it off, and us reaching out to places. So this week, Monday, we started our adult Easter egg hunt. That is actually the hunt. So you have to look on Facebook each day. It's at different times of the day. We don't just throw them out there and first thing in the morning. That way people that work all day, you know, it's already gone. So we've been putting them out and putting the message up at, 5:30, 6 o'clock. And we just kind of give a hint as to where it is. They're only in our parks, not throughout just the city in general. I know Valley Church just finished theirs, or is finishing theirs. Theirs is throughout the whole city. But ours is just in the parks to try to draw some people to the parks. Maybe go to Marsh Park because it's been forever, or I've never been to Marsh Park. Let me go look there. Might be where the egg is. And each of those eggs have, at least $50 worth of gift certificates and things like that.
Are elected officials allowed to participate?
Yeah, you gotta look on Facebook and go and see if you can figure out where they
I
are.
think the one for today has already been found, or maybe like was earlier today or something.
Okay.
The rain. I've been watching.
Yeah, good.
I've been
So,
considering.
yeah. So, and that's gotten a big response. We had a lady that won like Monday, and she said, you have to come to the wreck to claim. And she said, do you mind, I've never been in here, do you mind if I look around? And so, and she's considering getting a membership. So that's what it's about, to draw people in, because you gotta come there to get your prize. So that's just another way of trying to draw people into the building. Once people get there and see how much we have with all the weights that we have, and machines and all that we have, and then the pool and then the gymnasium, club room to be able to have parties, and then the studio room upstairs is really incredible. You wanted me to talk about like what's next, kind
Yeah.
of.
And what is your? Obviously it's hard to say what happens, but in the next 5 years, what would you like to see happen?
Our next two projects, we just finished our handicap bathrooms,
Oh.
which that was a 90-day project that turned into 120 days. So, but it's finally done. They are still working on the handicap door. So the inner, there's the outside door by the ramp. And so there's a sensor. So when somebody approaches that door, there's a doorbell that rings. We can look at the camera and see, and then we have a button we can hit, and it automatically opens. So having that ramp and access into the main level is really going to be big. Then the new bathrooms, the new handicap accessible bathrooms are really nice, and finally all done. There is one more set of doors that we're waiting to come in, and those will be put in our maintenance kind of door that's right there as well. But so that project's about to wrap up. The next project would be, I don't know if it's the actual next project or what, but an elevator. So it's a matter of how, those are not cheap. Well, I'm guessing $400,000 or something like that, maybe more, especially the way things have skyrocketed. For the amount of people that would use that.
Right.
That's your guys' call. I don't have to make that call anymore. But that is kind of another thing that's on the table, is that we would need to look at and evaluate and see budgetarily how that plays out. So that brings me to my next thing, is that outdoor pool. That outdoor pool wasn't used for 2 or 3 years when the Y had it, their last few years. It's in very bad repair. I mean, to get that up and running would really cost a lot of money. So we need to start looking at what do we want to do with that space? You know, what can we do with that space? And then, you know, budgetarily, how can we make that happen? And so we, you know, you could always look at just tearing all that stuff out, add more parking, but it's already an area that we could do something with. I don't know what, but we could do something with it. To look at that and evaluate, there's a lot of options that are out there, but to look and see what could we do to really enhance, you know, the whole rec center. So that's what we're in the process now of looking at some different options. Because, you know, regardless of what you do, there's gonna have to be some money that goes in just to get to a baseline, you know, whether that's digging that pool out and refill and all those kind of things. And then what are we gonna do there? So looking at options. So that's really our next down the road. What do we wanna look at there? And then it's just a constant changing out of equipment, what really is used, what's not. You know, the big, we had a big donation right before Christmas, and the 2 pieces, I mean, there was 5 pieces of equipment, and 2 of them were rowers.
Oh, cool.
And people are just, I mean, all the time saying how they love those rowers. And so, yeah.
Perfect for HIIT workouts.
As a former rower, those things are torture implements, actually. If you have to do it for more than 10, 15, I've had to be on those things for 2 hours straight.
Oh,
No.
At that point, yeah. But I am glad that they are there.
Yeah, because people are loving them
Yeah.
because they get your heart rate up quick.
Yes.
But,
You don't have the water to jump into.
No.
we are less and less issues coming up with the building itself, maintenance stuff. We did have an issue, 2 weeks ago, when the last big storm that come through.
Yeah.
And so we had water coming up in the men's adult locker room. And so we've been having that evaluated, and we thought maybe a pipe was collapsed, and it's not. It's literally a backup from this hole, because all this goes that way to the elm thing. So, so until that gets fixed, unfortunately, I mean, so that's not just that problem. That's affecting a lot more areas, and
Circumference is growing.
Yeah.
so just that pressure just backs everything up. And but it's not like every rain; it's got to be a pretty substantial rain.
Right.
And so, and 2 weeks ago on a Thursday night,
I mean, that was,
that was a really bad one. So, but other than that, our maintenance is getting less and less, you know, because we're getting more and more things fixed really well and properly and are new and upgraded. And so I've got people come in Friday. We're going to be adding some the Wi-Fi antennas and boosting that, so people, when they come, they constantly are like, hey, what's the Wi-Fi? And we're like, we don't really have a public Wi-Fi. And even the Wi-Fi we have is difficult sometimes for us to use ourselves, just because it's that whole building's concrete and block.
Even like waterworks in the rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the rentals.
Yeah. Right, and so when that's because it's a big thing. When we do these rentals, you know, people are wanting to be able to use the smart TV, and sometimes that ends up being a hindrance. And so they're coming. I'm meeting TA on Friday. He was calling me today about that. So we're gonna do a walkthrough, kind of see where we would want a placement, so they can kind of see how they get it, because that, you know, that was 2 buildings really. That you had the one that was prior to the 80s when they tore down the houses and added on the new section. So trying to get things from the one through the concrete into the other side kind of thing, it makes it sometimes a little bit difficult and challenging. But those things are happening. So, I know that, like this year, I was talking to Noah today and about the FRP that you just recently passed. So we still have some things in there this year, some capital. We got some things, some concrete issues at Waterworks. The pool deck itself needs, kind of a skim thing.
Right.
And then, so we're looking at options on that. Darren's working on that currently. And so that's really about the biggest thing over there is getting that. And then next year, it looks like we have 75K in for capital, and then 2025 and therefore is 50. So it's just a matter of, looking at how we use, this year, and like I said, that pool, that outside pool, how quickly do we want to jump on something like that?
Right.
Because as a pool, the big issues are lifeguards.
Yeah.
And not having enough of those. And then, the cost of chlorine skyrocketed like price of gas. And so that's just crazy. So to make that a pool, I think is money out, is just money out. If we put something else in there, we need to look at what can we put in there that could be money coming in.
Do you have any like brainstorming, not like this is what I wanna do, but like?
I mean, we've heard, we've thought about, basketball courts, sand volleyball courts,
Okay.
things
I was
that
going
you
to
could
suggest
have.
sand volleyball.
Yeah. Things that you could have leagues and generate income
Yeah.
that would offset, then, more or less pay for itself over, a year or 2, 3 years, or it's, so it's just,
Oh, that's interesting.
sand
There's
volleyball
not
is
any-
huge.
The
Millcrest.
closest one is,
Well, we have
Oh.
a court at one of our parks, but sand volleyball court.
Yeah.
I would use that term loosely.
Yes. It's a
Right.
sand pit.
Yeah, and the thing is, and somebody asked us about that, the problem down there is there's no way to really keep eyes on it all the time.
Yeah.
And to keep critters out of it, because then it just becomes a big litter box.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which would be great, I mean, if we could have something like that, but
Yeah.
that's one.
mm-hmm,
If you're looking at that, we have 2 gyms, we have this one in the community center, that we, like the community center, we rent that gym out a lot to volleyball clubs. And there, so just about at least 4 nights a week, we have volleyball clubs in there that have rented that, which is, that's income coming in. That's one of the things that we're gonna be looking at in the future is actually having a staff person man there. And we're slowly remodeling rooms so then we can lease those or rent those to clubs, organizations. We currently have Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts there, Historical Societies there, police is there, seniors are downstairs, and then we have the Montessori school that has 1 room. Now this next year they're including 2 with maybe a 3rd.
Oh.
So
but the Montessori is the only one that pays, right? Boy
Yes.
Scouts are free,
Right.
seniors are free.
yes,
Yes.
Yeah, so having that league play would be great for money.
so that gives that gives us in there.
Yeah.
I would like to. I'd love if we had somebody from Norwood that would like to try to start a drama, a community theater, because you have the stage there,
Oh, yeah.
and that's where many years ago the old variety show that they used to do was at St. E's, and then it became Holy Trinity's, and then they started moving it at other locations, but that we could have a community theater there if you know
Such a fun-
anybody,
If I know anyone, I will let them know. Not
Yeah.
me,
yeah.
not a drama person,
So,
but I enjoy
Yeah.
theater.
So we slowly, Darren is working on getting rooms done, and so what we're gonna do is one of the old rec office down there is just, it's just a mess. So we've
Is
been
it the
cleaning
lower
that
level?
out. No, it's on the gym level.
Okay.
So when you first come up,
You go
it's
up
the
there.
first one on the left,
Okay,
and then you have the gym.
okay.
So making that turn, redoing that, rehabbing that office, making that office again, and manning somebody in there in the evenings, like 4 to 9.
Mhm.
And then that way we have somebody on staff,
On
because we
site.
are having issues with, kids and stuff like that, that leave the water running in the sink, and then it's running all night long.
Right.
Mhm.
And because we don't have anybody there,
Checking.
locking up,
Right.
So that's for a future, thing is adding an additional staff person and manning that actually, Monday through Friday in the evenings. Plus, the fact that we have rentals down there, somebody that's able to kind of keep a track on that and get those. Rentals are up as well. We have the 3 community center, we have the club room at the rec, and then we have the worth room at the Waterworks pool. And those things stay hopping too, and which is really cool. I mean, that's money coming in that we're able to pool. And we're
Can I
very
ask a
happy about it.
question about the memberships?
Yep.
Do you have this is as much as the rec can hold? Like we have to cap it at
As far as
some
membership?
number. Yeah.
I don't think so, because it's, as you can see,
It's,
it's so fluid.
I've never been there when it was busy.
Yeah,
There's other people there, but I've never had to wait for.
depending on which evening you come, because we're really about out of space there, as far as add another program, because all the rooms are full. And, we don't want to put a program or start a program in the club room, because we want to keep that open for rental for anybody. And, of course, those rentals are mostly weekends. And, we're trying to get the word out and want to, do a better job of getting the word out, that people could rent, especially that room and the Worth room, for smaller trainings. You have a smart TV, you can hook up to and have trainings, those kind of things. We do rent the community center out a handful of times for some there's a couple places that will rent it for their union meeting, to have voting. I know the Hampton County's Republican Party has rented it several times now, because we're central to the county, to have their big central committee votes and stuff like that, where, we have to set up for 100 people, So we do get those down there for the bigger events. Those aren't as much. That's usually parties and stuff like that get rented out. But,
Do you know if if Norcom has sent out like an email or a social media blitz letting people know about renting spaces through the rec?
we've not done that. We can do that through our civic rec thing, and so we don't send a whole lot out, because we don't want people to get inundated with just too much. So we try to keep that, and we kind of put posts out just periodically. But you're right. That's something a way that we could, once a month, just throw it out. But that goes out to all of our members. And but it could be one where you say, hey, if your workspace is looking for a meeting space, or for special meetings or trainings or anything like that, it's perfect for that. I know Civil Service has been using both community center and Worth room for testing, doing their interviews, and those kind of things too. So I mean, it works for our city as well, that we're able to have those type of spaces.
I was just thinking that the city's gonna have a bigger email list than the people who are rec members.
Right.
And you don't need to be a member
That's
to
a good
rent
idea,
a space.
Yeah,
I'll throw it
might be
out
good
there.
to.
I saw on Facebook someone was looking for a rental place for like a baby shower, and I threw that out on Facebook.
It's perfect for that. Now,
Yeah.
that's what we do a lot of: baby showers, birthday parties, and because they're both the Worth room and the club room. We can seat 50 people comfortably in those, and so those are perfect, for not big thing. And then if you need a bigger thing, we'll suggest the community center. Or usually people call about the community center. We're like, how many people you
Right.
I'm like, well, you're 25. I'm like,
Yeah.
how about one of
We got a
these? It's
better
gonna be
space
cheaper
for
for you
Yeah.
and work out better for you instead of, you spend a lot of money for a lot of wasted
Right.
space like that. So, we need to look at things like the sound system at the community center and, some smaller things like that. It's all money, costs money, but those are smaller budgeted items that we can work on. But, we try to, trying to enhance what we do have to be able to, we've got some people that, I mean, it's not I got one lady in mind I can tell you right now. I bet she does 5 rentals at the community center a year.
Wow.
She parties everything. And, sweetest lady. But she loves it. It's right there. It's close to her home and there's plenty of room. It's easy access now that the ramp is redone there as well. And it just works. And, so.
You have to clean up your house.
That's the thing. We do actually take the garbage, take your garbage out,
Let's
but
face it,
yeah, you don't have to
Clean your
clean your whole house up and be ready for that. But so, any other questions?
Just for looks like right now you've got 33 kind of positions, seasonal and part-time, et cetera. Plus the office manager, program manager, and recreation director as the full-time ones. Is that kind of seem like what you'll need for the foreseeable future, besides maybe the extra person at community center?
Yeah, well, we're looking to hopefully get about 25 seasonals,
Okay.
which are, the majority of those
Lifeguards.
are lifeguards. And then 3 or 4 of them are ones that aren't guards, but work concessions.
Okay.
And so that's really just for the pool season.
Okay.
We have another, 25 or so, I forget the number off the top of my head, that we have which are classified as permanent part-time. They work all year.
Right.
So some of those are lifeguards, some of those are just the office staff that work. And then that incorporates those two. So we have those 2 different designations.
Okay.
And because of the ordinance from last year, we did bump up the permanent part-times. They're all at 15 now, which is really good.
Yeah.
That allows us to hopefully be able to keep
Right.
those.
And compete against other places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, our seasonals, we used to start them they were starting at like 9 when I came in, and I kind of bumped it up to 11. But I think, lifeguards, because there is such competition, we will probably start lifeguards at 13. So they'll be the 13, 14, 15, depending on how long you've been there.
Right.
But if we can entice some people, the strong suits that we have to stay here, because we don't want our kids going to Kings Island or Great Wolf or any of those places because they pay 15 there.
Right.
But here you don't have to waste gas. You're close. It's a safe environment. You don't got to worry about that.
It's not nearly as wild. I can't imagine being a lifeguard at Kings Island. Too many people.
Right.
Or the beach when
Right.
the beach seems.
And even the city's got 26 pools. Last year they opened 8.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough cards.
Right.
And of those 8, if all 4 of my kids growing up were lifeguards, I would not have allowed them to go work at a city pool.
2 of my boys worked at city pools.
Yeah, you're just.
It's no joke.
Yeah.
It's no joke.
So that's another reason to have here.
This would be a very different experience.
And we also, we're very flexible with schedules. We understand that these kids are on the football team or soccer team, and so we work around their schedules. So when they don't have practices, we can get them in to work a few hours. It helps us, helps them make a little bit of money, and everybody's happy. So we have very flexible schedules as well.
And for the part-time people, do they have any benefits or is it just?
No, just strictly.
I thought so, but.
Yeah.
Where is updating the bathrooms at Waterworks on the priority list, or is it even on there?
At Waterworks?
Yeah.
I've not had that on my list, but I can talk to Darren.
I know there's a lot, so I was just wondering.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have asked about the baby pool and then the
Oh,
bathrooms.
okay. So the bathrooms, we we started doing some stuff in there last year.
Yeah.
And, we're, trying to see what we can do to kind of spruce them up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking
Sorry.
the ones down by the tennis court.
No,
Yeah.
no, those are good.
So the baby pool, is just another issue. We're looking at, how we finally got it, figured out the way the piping was.
Okay.
When you've got a water issue and Clint doesn't know it,
Yeah.
we got a problem.
Yeah.
And Clint was like baffled. And so finally, we had to come in and run the cameras through and figure out what was going on. And that was the last. So that's one of the things that we're trying to figure out what to do with that baby pool.
What it needs.
We did to add the new decks, the wooden decks.
Yeah.
Those are new this year. Those were all, redone and look really nice. We're trying to find, I've reached out by email, I called the guy's office, left a message to call me. I went out there to the beach, because it's closed.
Right.
This attorney in Lexington bought it. So I called and I left a message with his assistant. I said, look, we bought this place. We're 10 minutes from there. A stretch. Anyway, and I said, we could use guard chairs or benches or
Right.
umbrellas or something like that, that instead of that going in a dumpster, if we could either get it donated or, get it for a cheap price or something like that. Things that we could use at our community pool, and still haven't heard anything back from them. I went out there, actually the end of the fall, and there were some guys on golf carts out there, and I waved them down and stopped them, and I introduced myself, and I just said, hey, what's the deal here? And he said, we still lease this from, that guy owns it, we still have a lease for a while. And I said, well, this is what I'm looking for. Instead of that stuff going dumpster, if there's something we could possibly use.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'll take your card and pass it along. So we still haven't heard anything. But that would have been great.
Yeah.
We would love to be able to get, one or two of those big, huge mushroom umbrellas.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be
There's
great.
no shade at that pool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is.
So that is one of the other areas that we're looking at is how we could try to get some shade in there for a couple areas.
Yeah.
'Cause there's just none.
Yeah.
And when you're there at high noon, and I know, people are like, well, that's what you go to the pool for.
Yeah, it's
But,
not.
mom that goes because
Yeah.
her kids are there may not want to have to sit under that direct sun.
Yeah.
So if we can, discover some areas like
Do
that.
any of those, like, those big triangular
Yeah.
shades?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So the
I'm trying to
new,
picture.
the new screen that I got last year
Yeah.
with our logo on the
Mhm.
fence. So I talked to them and they're like considering maybe making a couple of those for us. They're like, I said, it's the same stuff. All we're asking is you put
Just-
a couple grommets in it and we'll hang it, or, we tell you this is where you hang the cables off of. Cause you can buy them off of Amazon.
Mhm.
But if we could get a couple of those and like strategically place those to give us more shade, that's one of my initial thoughts. And then somehow getting some umbrellas in there of some sort. Those big, huge ones would be really cool, but I know that those are very, very expensive. But maybe it's smaller ones. Maybe it's you want to rent an umbrella, kind of thing,
Yeah.
and hopefully that doesn't cause issues and people start fighting, because they were in the pool and they come out and they're like, yeah,
Oh, my
your
goodness.
name on it,
Oh, right.
So, but that might be something that we look into is, getting 10 of the regular just 10-foot umbrellas, and you can rent one of those. We'll wheel it out to your thing instead of where you would be.
With your name on it,
Yeah.
rented.
Right. We'll have the Cabana boys and
Yeah.
Cabana girls and.
Great. I'm just thinking about, umbrellas, benches, all that. Now, bringing the cliffs into Norwood, now that would be a draw. I've got a plan for the old,
Clip at the beach.
the biggest slide there.
Oh.
Put it, look, it's gonna be great, put it in the parking lot, the old pool will be the splash pad, it's gonna be great.
Don't let Noah hear.
Right.
His attorney brain is gonna start vibrating.
Look,
I am looking to see if we could get some sort of high pressured nozzle that we, from time to time, this was the mayor's idea, it's not mine, so I'm not trying to steal it. I don't want him to think I'm, hey, you're stealing my idea. He saw it on vacation, sent me a picture, and they just had it like just a big nozzle set up, and it sprays up, and then all that mist, you know, is in the kids of it. So my thought was, if we could put it on top of our building that sprays out into the pool, that's probably me, one of these phones. It sprays out in the pool like during pool check, or not constantly, but you know, every hour it sprays for 10 minutes or something like that, and it throws a mist over everything, and kind of cools things down. Plus, it's kind of cool, the kids, you know, play under it and stuff like that. But it would like go way out into the pool. So we're looking into see if we could add something like that this year, and what that would entail. You know, running water to it and electric. My thought was we put it up there because obviously it's going to have some sort of compressor to work. That way the electric is away from everything. It's away from any kids, because those things are so powerful. You put your hand in from it,
Oh, yeah,
you
you
can
got
take a finger off.
Yeah.
So that's all we need is have our law department involved in that. You know, so let's get it up out of the way. That way everybody can enjoy, you know,
Hopefully
the
not.
evidence of it without.
so
you know,
Noah
being
can't
like-
watch this meeting, he
No,
can't watch this
no.
meeting, Tim can't watch this meeting.
That
So
no one's
worry,
allowed.
they'll be
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
We got
We've got it
We're
under
good.
control.
Yeah.
So other than that, you know, things are good at the rec. And now the parks, you know, and if anything, our next venture would be having to go out and try to start figuring out staff-wise how we could do more things in the parks, programs of things. I would love to be able to have some small educational things in our parks this year through the summer, whether it be beekeeping, you know, how do you plant flowers? How do you, you know, I had this flower, I did seedlings. How do you really transplant that?
Right.
You know, how do you plant a
Composting.
tree?
Gardening,
Vermiposting.
Yeah.
Well, that can kind of go along with that idea of like each park has a theme.
right,
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
this park holds educations on this.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. How do you plant a tree? I mean, like, without just digging a hole and dropping it in, how deep does it need to be? Where, you know, how do you properly do that? A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
So just some educational things like that we could have in the
They're
parks
seasonal.
to draw some
Yeah.
people into the park itself, want to
Right.
see the park,
Mhm.
and then get a little bit of education and learn something that,
writing this
you know,
down.
some neat little things.
Yes.
And then I guess we're gonna have a community garden. I just found this out at Hunter. So,
Oh, yeah, so Paul Boys has been working on that, so, he's trying to get water run to the garden.
Okay. I don't know if it was him or somebody else. They called me. They're like, "Hey, I need to talk to somebody about the community garden that we're putting in here at Hunter." I'm like,
What?
Not my
News to me.
"Sure, we look into that for you."
Yeah.
But that, I mean, with that particular area, it's just perfect.
Right.
For that. It's area you really can't use for anything else. And
Mm-hmm.
that park has really come a long way.
Mhm.
And I'm really proud of that park and the way it looks and the way we've got the little path around it, the dog park and everything like that. I live on Hunter, and people every day, you know, I gotta adjust my Ring camera.
I could get too many
Every
notifications.
ding, ding, ding with people going by my driveway is what it does. I'm trying to keep an eye on my car.
Right.
But it's people, when you look on that, they're walking their dog and they're headed that way and back. And so I
I
know
have
it's
a
being
question about Hunter, and I wish Mr. Kelch were here, because I know that he had talked about getting, funding for, exercise stations around that walkway.
Yeah.
And then it sort of disappeared.
Okay.
And didn't know, okay, you don't look like you know what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you're talking
okay.
about, but That wasn't like something that was brought to us to say, hey, find out about this.
I just thought it was already underway,
Yeah.
and then it just sort of disappeared.
Not that I know of,
Okay,
but a lot of
Not that
times
I
it's,
heard either.
it gets purchased, and then Public Works puts it in.
well,
And they
this was
find out about
2
it.
years.
Yeah, I think
with through AARP.
Yeah, there are some programs where you can get exercise equipment, like there's specifically for that kind of like
Yeah.
active trail thing. I had not heard anything about it from Darren or Clint or anyone, so if that is the case, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And I would love
It's a good
to,
spot.
yeah, I think that'd be a perfect spot, around that trail.
My
But-
understanding is that it was gonna happen, but then it fell through, but I didn't know if it had been.
Yeah,
When
I
you
don't know if
looked
that,
at-
maybe that was a funding thing, or I don't know.
Alright.
I just don't know where
Something to look into.
that lies. I do recall that though. And, but you're right, that would be probably a good couch question.
Well, now, glad you mentioned this program for summer, now my head is thinking about, I could teach about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I might get in contact with you and see if maybe we can get something going for
Yeah,
this
we'll-
summer.
right. I think.
Cause we have time
Right.
before real summer happens, so. And I have plenty of things that I've already taught about that I can just go and do whenever, so. Tree ID, I think, anyway, I'll leave that for.
Oh, we are hoping to do the summer series again,
Mm-hmm.
the concert series. And I was talking with Nick, and so he said, is there a way that maybe we could swap back and forth months? And I think that's a great idea. So like 1 month we would do it at the lawn,
Mhm.
next month we would do it in their thing. That way we're
Oh.
going back and forth across the
Ooh,
city
look at
and drawing
people in
different things,
and
right?
out, and
And then,
like that.
I think we definitely wanted to do the Hispanic Heritage
Festival.
Month
Yes.
again. That was a huge
Wasn't that just
success.
the most beautiful thing?
It was, and it was a lot of fun. And I wish we could get other cultures that we could draw in like that, because, having the cultural foods
Mm-hmm.
was really cool.
Yeah.
And then they had the dancing and everything like that. It was so much fun. And that also taught us that the lawn, that just is kind of it's a great area to have a concert, but until we get a stage or something like that
Right.
implemented there, the street is the best idea.
Mm-hmm.
And, but we turn it and face it towards Surrey Square instead of all those houses down that street.
Yeah,
You could hear
Direct
them
it
on
towards-
Victory Parkway, man. They were loud. It was great music, but it was loud. They like to play it one of those. I like
There's
it.
people down there on Milson, they're out just on their porch dancing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Keith Moore said he heard it. They were out for a walk, and he said we just followed the music. Like, where's it coming from?
Yeah, that was great.
Sorry, I found the AARP thing, and I'll email it to you.
Yeah, emails
Do
me,
you?
and I'll ask, Chris if he had like already looked into it, if there were issues or whatever, and
Okay.
how feasible it might be. Cause it depends, like, if they need matching funds or not, or. what that kind of
My
thing.
recollection when I was looking at it before was they just full donated.
Oh, okay. Love to take stuff.
Right? They did 53 parks in 3 years. The AARP did. So I'll send that to you later. And I also found trees. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Susan and her tabs.
Is that your brain right now?
This is
Yeah.
this is always my brain. Isn't
Yes.
isn't it sad?
Is there anything else you wanna share or
sorry.
anything? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, not that.
That's
I mean,
okay.
I think that's. There's so much going on, but we like to. There's other things that we like to do.
Mhm.
Other programs that we like to try to get started,
Mhm.
and just kind of see. But we always want to think outside the box too.
Mhm.
Not just the same stuff all the time. What can maybe? There's probably demographics of some sort that we could attract because of a certain program.
Mm.
What would that be? And so that's what we're constantly trying to think of. That's why we added the adult Easter egg hunt
Yeah.
to draw some adults to parks that maybe they've not gone to before. Let them have some fun too, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody, they're enjoying that, having fun. And we may even get some memberships out of it, because they come to pick their prize up and they're like, this is pretty cool. Oh, we are gonna have, our first health fair on April 15th. And, we've been putting the word out, and we want to have, just anything and everything that could help anybody from Norwood. So, you know, nursing homes, home health, home nursing, I've contacted our funeral homes. I know that, one of them's at least gonna drop off some information that we can have, just anything and everything. If you know of anybody, we're not charging for a table, we're just gonna set tables up in the gym, or bring your own table. You can give giveaways, do things, the health department's gonna come over as well, they're gonna do blood pressures and such.
What time is it?
Nutrition, you know,
Who's doing the nutrition?
we don't have anybody yet.
Ooh, I know a, oh,
Watch it.
sorry, never mind.
I know it,
Is it like 9 to 3 or is it?
It's 10 to 1, so that way nobody had to get up too early. And we've got insurance companies come in. We've been kind of doing a few things with, and I just dropped their name. They're actually in Roselawn. It's like, they handle everything. So if you're like on Medicare, you can sign up with them. They have the doctor, their pharmacy, everything is in-house.
That's nice.
They do everything. So their goal is to keep you from having to go to the ER. So if you think you might have to go to the ER, and you call them, they'll evaluate you first to save that big bill. And but they go out, they do other programs. So we've been kind of doing a few things and trying to do more with them. They're the ones that kind of gave us that idea of, you know, starting a health fair. So we're trying to get the word out on that. So that's April 15th from 10 to 1. That's a Saturday. And hopefully you know, everybody's like, well, how many do you expect? We have no clue.
Yeah.
It's our first one. And that will probably low, because it's the first one. But hopefully it'll spur some things, and people can come and walk around, get some information on different aspects, or some education or anything. And, you know, from that, we hope to be able to take some of those things and say, you know, the Alzheimer's group, you know, maybe that we have somebody there, they had a lot of people interested in getting information. Maybe we bring them and have a class, you know, to an educational thing about that, or whatever it might be, but be able to draw from, you know, that health fair. And then hopefully we make that an annual thing that we can get information to people.
That's great. Cool. Any other questions from Mr. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming and
No,
sharing.
thank you.
And
I'd love if you can stay for a few minutes while we talk about this. I'd like your perspective as well.
yeah, figure, Susan, whatever you want to
Not a
do
problem.
with
So
this, we can
this-
talk about this.
So this is, for Marsh Park, the resolution did pass for, an application for the historical marker, which is sort of the one piece. The other piece is what beauty do we want to sort of infuse the park with. I've talked to Clint about, some low-lying stuff, like easy breezy things, and he said we could, put, like daffodils along the tree, along the fence line. And we wouldn't need to mulch it or anything, they'd just be straight in the grass, and then by the time the first mow came, the daffodils will be done.
Yeah.
So it'd be zero extra maintenance. So someone on the DEI board is gonna look into pricing, like how many daffodils, bulbs would we need? And if that's something that the Parks Committee and Council approves, then that's something we're gonna start considering for the fall, because you plant the bulbs in the fall. But for a deeper, look at what we wanna do the park, the three main ideas that we had, were the refurbishing the half basketball court that's there, It's there, it's in existence, there's a net. I've never seen anyone use it when I've been there,
Yeah.
but it's there, it's up. And so there could be, an option of doing something like at Waterworks, where we redid it and had like some artwork on the court. The other idea was a mosaic bench or a mural or like a mosaic walkway, which is why I'm in contact with Artworks to see if they could support that, you know, because we've never done that before. And then the last idea was a community garden. I met with Darren and sort of looked at the park and places where it could possibly go, where a water line would be close by and that sort of thing. So those are three ideas that we just kind of came up with, but we want to do community outreach to see what does the community want. And so this is a questionnaire or survey that I wanted your eyes on to see your thoughts and feelings about it. And if you thought this was a good idea, have it go to council, and then we could have it distributed, you know, far and wide to get feedback about the park. So that's what that is. That's what this is.
It's very cool. We were actually just talking about Marsh Park a little bit ago, and if we maybe look at putting a restroom in there, then we could rent that park out. Because it has a shelter. We don't rent that right now, but that's another shelter that we could rent. The whole purpose of renting the shelter is so that you have the space. Anybody can come, feel free to use it, but if somebody's got a permit, then you know you lose out. So it's a chance you would really have to take. So if you wanted to have a party, but the reason we don't do that is there's no restroom facilities there, and that would make it difficult. So, you know, if we had a small restroom facility there, even if it was just like one unisex bathroom, that would probably be enough because it's such a small park.
Would you look at putting it where the old bathhouse is?
Probably, because obviously there would be water lines somewhere around there. So
Yeah, I know from talking to Clint and Darren, the issue is basically like having people there to unlock it or relock it, and worries about maintenance issues, like people coming in and tearing stuff out.
yeah. So what we could do is, and what we would need to start doing is, they're open. The big parks that have a lot of traffic is one thing. A park like that, we open it if somebody's renting it, or where there's an event there, or something like that. And that way, we make sure that it's always secured.
Yeah.
Because you're right, because they've found people, you know, passed out in them and, you know, sleeping in them and stuff like that. So we can't have that.
Right, and I would also like kind of broach the topic of like porta potty type stuff, but from what Clint said, that also presents issues of like people knocking them over, having to pay every month to maintain them. So, but it's something to think about as far as like what we have the budget for, and I don't even know how much that would cost to make. So I close my tablet when I need to take notes, but it's like to do. Just gotta remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you're looking at, you know, the 5-year thing is looking at, okay, next year's park is, you know, Marsh.
Yeah.
And that's where we do beautification, we add a restroom, and maybe make the shelter a little bit bigger, or something like that. You know, we look at, this is where we wanna concentrate, and then kind of start rebuilding. I know Waterworks 4, I took a stroll up there, just walked up there, there's still a shelter up there. And there's actually still some playground equipment up there. And we just gotta repave the road to get up there. But, you know, I don't think we talked about this before.
We're looking
When we were talking about the
capital.
Yeah, you said Waterworks, so I was just making sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant Millcrest.
Yeah.
And so when you first pull into Millcrest, you'd shoot right up.
Right.
So that's where we were talking about coming off with a trail once we get the railway.
Yeah.
And that extension off of Watson
Yeah.
Way.
So we definitely, we have plans to, we're applying for capital funding to do that very thing.
Okay.
Not the railway thing,
Yeah.
but basically
The driveway up.
the driveway up,
Yeah.
and then all the way down
All
to
the way
Victory, all the way around the park,
Yeah.
eventually connecting back to where the railway comes out on the northern part of Millcrest. Yeah, and then if that would become a trail, then that would be an easy link, just like a little loop that people could do in the park, so. And also revitalize that area, which is currently not used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that, and then maybe add another shelter when you first pull in off where the old sand volleyball court is, another shelter over in that area. You know, those kind of things, adding shelters,
Right.
are always a plus. And, you know, we can do, but I think that, you know, Marsh would be a good park to, you know, that's like the next Hunter. You know, we've done a lot of work in Hunter, and maybe Marsh is the next one that we look at, you know, concentrating a lot of efforts into, and really revitalizing that park and making it something, you know.
Well, I know it was not high on the list of parks in need,
Right.
but this is more of a,
This is a
it's more of an
forgotten
emotional need.
Yeah, and it's a very small park, so
and
it's not like, people may not have rated it highly just because not a lot of people happen to go there.
park.
But
Yeah,
because-
this is definitely a neighborhood.
Yeah, this is a neighborhood.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, and so I think if we enhanced it, not that we're trying to draw people from the view over there to do that, but
Just
for
make it
that
nice.
neighborhood, you know,
Yeah.
we've enhanced, and Hunter's that way. Hunter's a neighborhood park.
Yeah.
Northwoods is a neighborhood park. So by doing that and just looking at going through maybe a park a year and concentrating efforts on
That's
how
what
can we really, you know, jazz this park up.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think, you know, making sure that we put stuff that people actually want to see there. So having this survey for especially people in the area, trying to go door to door or like try to engage with them one-on-one will be
Yeah, so
really useful.
let me share the plan
Yeah.
for, assuming that you guys are supportive of this and that, and council is as well. The plan is we would do like social media postings, but we'd also do direct drop-offs to, all the doors within, a few block radius. So, that's one of the most important things is, I mean, if you live on Indian Mound, we kind of care what you want. But if you live across the street, we really care what you want.
Right.
So that's why the first question is, how close are you
Yeah.
to Marsh Park? Because we want really to hear those voices, most clearly. And in terms of like the community garden, we would really need a robust,
Like make sure
volunteer.
people want to do it, because we don't
Right.
have the capability to maintain it unless there's people
Right.
who, what they want.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, because when I say doing a different park, we're not looking at making all of our parks a cookie cutter kind
Oh,
of thing.
yeah,
Sure.
no,
You know, what does that neighborhood want? That's, you know, because what they want in that particular small park may not be what we've done in Hunter or what we do in Northwoods, you know, which I think is great because that gives that park some identity.
they should
And
all
that's
be
what we
different
do.
a little bit in what they do, like, you don't have to,
Personality.
I would never wanna put a soccer field in Marsh Park, for instance. First of all, be the entire park.
Right, that's the whole park.
Yeah, but it's just, I think it would be neat to see what people want, and then, you know, with that, we can see what our budget is and really hone in on what makes sense and have
And
it
because
be a big
because
thing.
this is also a DEI initiative, we can look for funding from outside sources for it.
Right.
Because it's not just a park, it's also this, sort of historical, racial, awareness piece as well. So we could have, there's some possibility for funding, as well like with the art funding.
Yeah. And that really helps, because then you don't have to rely just on the couple $10,000 we have. Having that would be great to like not limit ourselves just because we happen to not have a ton of money for the park. And then that money could go toward a different park for just routine maintenance even, so, yeah.
Are there any questions on here that you would like reworded, or a question that's not on there that you think should be? And it takes less than, about a minute to fill out. Oh, one thing, it does say to give it to me, we're gonna change that to the president of, to the clerk of council. To have it be more, that was a request from, Mayor Schneider.
Okay.
That we do that.
Sounds good.
I think these are just good basic questions
Yeah.
to start with.
Yeah, I think
And then
just,
you go by what your answers are.
And
you
then
can
we'll
kind
have
of-
like community conversations,
Yeah.
we'll meet up at the park and have conversations
Yeah.
more
I'd say,
in
like-
depth from people.
it seemed like people wanted a bench, here's some ideas of what the bench might look like, what do you think? So, yeah, I think this is a great first step to get that information, just having a baseline. So it's not just like, well, my one friend that lives near Marsh Park wants this, so I'm gonna do it because
Right,
that's what my buddy wants.
I can tell you we can't put a pool in, I can tell you that right now.
Come on, Susan.
So if you could report this out of the committee,
Yes.
I believe I need to do a resolution to have it dispersed. That is my understanding, so I'll confirm that, but I'll have that at the next council meeting, so we can just start moving on it.
Yep, I'll report it out, and I'll report out, just information about what the rec is doing and hopes to do. Because I know it's already kind of in the FRP, some of the more specific stuff, but just thinking about other things, other avenues of funding too. It's always good to have more people looking. Gosh, I wish, maybe I can just I was just looking up while you were talking about the beach. I was trying to look up, maybe I could email that lawyer and be like, I'm on city council. I used to go to the beach. I would love that. But there's no email that I can find. Probably because he's one of those big muckety mucks that doesn't want just random people emailing him. So if I find something, I will reach out though.
I'll send you his phone number.
Well, I'll
Oh.
start stalking him.
That's only the number I called at his office though. I just Googled his name.
Oh,
knew
I
he was
guess
from
I can just-
Lexington,
yeah.
And it popped right up.
Oh, his office. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Not that I have any particular power over lawyers from Lexington.
You never know though.
Don't underestimate yourself.
We'll see. Anyway, I'm hopefully you hear back from that. I'm excited to see this go forward and see what people want and use that to kind of figure out how to make Marsh Park really even better than it is. So, sweet. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? All right. Awesome. Well, we are all set. Thanks for coming, and I think it stopped raining, so that's nice.
Perfect timing.
Thank you, Steve, and hello, 3 people watching at home.
All right.